Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're out in the shop today. It's Saturday, Labor Day weekend, and we got a lot to do. So I figured I'd just kind of bring you along with me here today, at least for a few hours in the morning. It's about 9 a.m. right now, and just got a bunch of work to do. I have a very large wine bottle order that I need to work on, and I don't have to get it done by Tuesday, by the end of the holiday, but I kind of want to, just to get it off my plate here. So I got about 100 wine bottles to engrave. So I want to bring you along for my process with that and just kind of update you on what else is going on and what's coming up. So let's go. So first up, let me just take you through a walkthrough here of my Galvo laser and CNC section of the shop. You can see I've got a bunch of stuff piled up here. Got about 2 dozen wine bottles here. These ones are in, these ones are in the engraving process, and these ones over here are either completed or they are getting ready. So got about 100 bottles, and I've been doing these on the Aurora with the Rotoboss Talon Pro and the little support arm there. So that's my setup. We'll get into a little bit more about that later. I'll walk you through how I do these. I've got a couple videos on color filling and wine bottles. So if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of how I do these on my UV lasers and how I color fill them, make sure to go check those videos out. I'll link them in the description. But before we actually get into the wine bottles, I'm going to show you what else I'm working on here. So this is a new 3D print design here that I have that I'll be offering here pretty soon. I'm just kind of working out the bugs and taking photos of them here. But I already offer this tool tray on the left side, and I have one that's designed for the right side of the Shapeoko 5 Pro. And these are nice because what they do is when you have the wasteboard setup that I sell that has the dog holes, or if you have your own style of dog holes, they allow you to have a nice reference point here on the X and Y axis. So what I can do is, imagine this is my material, you know, I'm referencing off of my dogs here, and then I'm also referencing off of this wood. So right here, my XY0 point is just always going to be the same. It's going to be repeatable. So I don't need to keep, you know, re-zeroing X and Y. So like I said, I already sell the files. This one I made here out of wood. This is maple. And I really like using these because they not only, you know, do what I just said, but they also provide a place for storage. So the dogs can go in here if you're not using them. And they also have room for bits and clamps and all that stuff. I kind of have one a little bit set up here. I just was playing with it, make sure everything fit. Okay. So I'll have these for sale here pretty soon, probably within the next week. Like I said, just kind of making a couple minor adjustments to them and taking product photos and trying to get those listed. So look for those out in about a week. So moving on to this corner of the shop here, you can see, I don't know if you remember, but this area here is where I do a lot of my testing. It's kind of a backdrop for shooting review videos, different lasers, CNC, stuff like that. Right now I have the Fox Alien Masuder 3S back in the shop. I got that out of storage and brought it back because I don't have it yet, but behind these boxes where the router is, they're going to be sending me out the spindle, the new spindle kit that comes with this here pretty soon. So within the next couple weeks, I should have that to be able to test it. So I brought it back, set it up. I've got a few different ideas with this machine. And if you haven't seen my review videos on this, I have a couple of them. Actually about 3 videos I did on this different machine, going over all different parts of it. The extension kit, the trim router edition, just the overall first impressions. So overall, really great machine. I'm looking forward to getting back into using this and testing out some projects to show you how it works and to give you an idea if that's something that you want to go with in your shop. And over here on top of the CNC, I also have more of a mess, but this is actually different engraving testing that I'm working on for the new Monport EFFI16s. I did a photo engrave, a couple different ones. This is one of my before engravings that I did before I kind of optimized all the settings and some of the different configurations in Lightburn. So I still need to work on that. I will be working on that this weekend more. I have some more engraving tests to do for just like different parts of the video. So I'm working on all that information right now. And I'm hoping to have that video done this weekend as well. So probably listing that on Monday. And again, that's going to be all about the EFFI16s. It's a 150 watt CO2 laser by Monport that I've had in for a couple months now and I've been using a lot of. And I really just wanted to see how it engraved because, you know, being a 150 watt laser, I wasn't sure. I mean, I knew the thing was going to be a good cutting machine, obviously. So, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get it, is because I have a lot of thicker jobs that I need to be cutting nowadays. But I wasn't sure how it was going to engrave, you know, being 150 watt. So it's going to be interesting to see how it does. And you're going to come along with me. And of course, if you want to see more about that, I have one video out already on it. The first video shows the different cutting capabilities of the laser. So just put it through a bunch of different tests. If you haven't seen that, I just kind of do a bunch, like tons of material test cards, just to give you an idea of what it could do, because that's something that I always, you know, when I was shopping for lasers and trying to figure out like, what the heck does this thing do? Like for real? Like that's what I wanted to see. So I'm trying to kind of show people, well, at least what I was curious about when I was getting into this hobby and business and trying to research these different machines and stuff. So go check that video out. And even if you're not interested in this particular machine, it'll still help you with different makes and models of CO2 lasers as well. So check it out. All right, so that's what I have going on now. Let's get back over to the Thunder, the UV laser, and let me show you what I got going on with these wine bottles. So I'm going to unchuck this. I have one engraving done right now. Let me unchuck this real quick. I gotta have two hands to do it, and I'll bring you back. All right, here's one of my engravings straight off the laser. I'm just gonna put it down here on the printer real quick. So just engraving this logo and centering it along all of this text that already comes on the wine bottle. And once I have these engraved, I'm gonna put them back over here into my stack. These bottles here are engraved or in the process of being engraved. And then these bottles over here have already been engraved, and I'm starting with the color fill. So I'm doing two different color fills here, or two different colors. Okay, so the logo, part of the logo that says Clarity, is a blue color, and I'm just using this Walmart acrylic paint. I find this stuff works really good, and it's cheap, and it comes in a bunch of different colors. But so Clarity is blue, and then the rest of the writing is going to be this silver color, or it's like a gray. So I've got these, you know, it takes a couple steps because I have to do different maskings. So these ones have the blue, and let me show you a finished bottle here. This is what they look like when they're all done. You see how the paint just really makes it pop. Let me show you one of the side by side here. This is what it looks like straight off the laser. So not bad. I mean, it contrasts pretty good on these dark bottles, but adding the color fill just really makes them pop. All right, so let me bring you in for a little sneak peek on how I actually make these, because they are a little bit of a tricky process, just because there's not a reference point, and I need to make sure that I line up, you know, on, you know, my engraving needs to line up on the logo of the wine bottle. So I've got to make sure I nail that every single time. It's not like a tumbler that has, you know, it's blank all the way around, so you can pretty much throw that in any direction. And if you're doing a label on the front face of it, then it's just always going to be in the front, you know, depending on how you twist the glass or the cup. Like, that's easy. But these, you have to line up everything. So you can see the blue tape that I have on there. That's my first step. Let me show you how I use that to chuck this up in the rotary to make sure I'm aligned every time. So this is going to be a little hard to show, but I'll bring you in with some B-roll here to show you exactly what I'm talking about more. But all right, so I'm going to place my bottle in the chuck, and you can see I have my support arm because these are obviously full, so they're pretty heavy. The Talon can handle them on its own, but it just makes it so much more repeatable and just safe to have the support arm. So I really like using that. Now I'm making sure my tape is faced up, and I'm going to go ahead and chuck this up into the rotary. And I like this Talon Pro because you can get it really tight. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere. Okay, so now I'm chucked up. Let me bring you in and show you how that looks. Okay, so you can see how my tape here is not being pressed with the jaws of the chuck at all. It's just really for alignment here, and you'll see that next. So I'm going to turn the chuck so the tape is facing up, 90 degrees to the lens as possible. So right now, every time I'm going to do this the same way, just so I don't mess any bottles up. After I chuck up my bottle, I'm going to check my level. So just putting my little bubble level on there. Okay, so I'm level, and I'm going to check my focus. Focus is just going to be checked with my little focus stick here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just barely kissing. So that's exactly how I like it. So I'm in focus, and I'm level. Now I'm going to go to light burn. And notice how on my logo, it's going to be a little hard to see, but I'm going to put it into dark mode. Okay, so here's my dark background so you can see better. Now on my logo here, I put an orange tool line, a straight tool line directly through the middle of my logo. I'm going to select everything, press the frame button, and I'm going to press the tool layer only button. That's going to project a straight red line onto my tape. So as you can see there, and I want to make sure that this straight line is lined up in the middle of the 2020, so directly in the middle. And as you can see, it's looking very good here. Let me put my focus, let me try to focus you a little bit here. There we go. So that's looking really good. So if it was skewed, like that, or off in any other direction, all I'm going to do is I'm either going to turn the bottle to get it aligned, or I'm going to adjust my image in light burn to make sure it's aligned. So now I know my image is centered. I'm going to go back to my frame button. I'm going to uncheck the tool layer only. So now this is going to project the entire image. And this is not going to come up on the camera very well, but all I'm looking for here is that my image is within the boundaries, because I have a 2020 logo here on the original bottle, and then I have some stamping and some other writing on the bottom of the bottle, and also I want to make sure it's not interfering with my chuck jaws here. So this looks perfect, and that's the whole reason why I have the tape on, so I can see all that really clearly, because without it, the red light does not project very well onto the bottle. So now that I know I'm set up correctly, this is hard to do one hand here, I'm just going to peel my tape off just to make it easier. I could engrave through the tape. It'll work just fine, but it just adds another step of cleanup. I have to weed out all the little specks of tape and stuff that are in the little letters. So just removing the tape eliminates that need to clean that up. And now I'm ready to go. So I'm going to shut the lid as much as I can here with all my stuff on. And I've got my glasses on, of course. And we'll go ahead and hit the start button, and we'll hit our second start button and start engraving. This engraving is going to take about 2 minutes because I have this set pretty slow. I'm trying to engrave pretty deep into these bottles because I really want that paint fill to soak in or have a nice channel to sit in. I find that helps with readability. The paint really pops when it has a nice little channel to sit in instead of just like a light engraving on the surface. So I'll show you the settings that I'm using for this in a moment once I'm all done with it. All right, so that's all done. Let me bring you in and show you my settings here. So I am engraving these bottles at a speed of 100 millimeters a second, frequency 40, and Q pulse width is 1 nanosecond. And those two settings there are pretty much what I use for all glass. Everything I do is 40 frequency, 40 kilohertz, and 1 nanosecond on the Q pulse. I've also got bidirectional fill on with a line interval of 0.01. And again, that's really like what I do for glass, like always. The only thing I'm really changing on different glasses, like if I'm just doing thinner glass or or I don't want it as deep, you know, I'm going to change my speed. And usually I'm engraving about 300 millimeters a second with normal glasses, whiskey glasses, pint glasses, that kind of stuff, 300, 350. But again, with this wine bottle, I really want to get this deep, so I'm at 100. So I'll unchuck this. And here it is, fresh off the laser. Aligned very nicely. So that is my process for every single one of these bottles. It's a little bit more work, but like I said, there's just, you know, there's no reference point on these when I stick them into the chuck like this. You know, there's no stopping point. So I could, if I'm off just a little bit twisted, you know, not everything is going to line up on this logo of the wine bottle, and that's going to be really noticeable. So I got to be very careful on every one of these. You know, they're all a different setup. They're all, you know, level needs to be checked on every single one of them. Focus needs to be checked on every single one of them, because if you haven't done a lot of glass, let me tell you, they're all different. Wine glasses, pint glasses, whiskey glasses, everything that we do, no matter where I get the glasses from, it's just the way that they're made. They're always going to be, you know, they're not perfectly round. It's not like a machined metal part where they're very, very tight tolerances. They're all a little bit different. So same goes for wine bottles. I mean, they're just, some of them are a little bit taller than others. Some of them are a little bit, you know, bigger diameter and or circumference. They're just all a little bit different. So every single time, this goes for any glass that you're using the rotary or non-rotary engraving for that matter, you have to make sure you check your circumference. You have to make sure that you check your level, and you have to make sure that you check your focus on every single one. It's a little bit more time, but it's going to save you from, you know, messing up a bunch of glasses, thinking that they're all going to be the same and you're going to use a jig or something to put them all in the same spot. I mean, that works to a certain extent, but it doesn't always work. So you need to be cognizant of that. And that is why I'm doing these bottles this way. So hopefully that helps you. You know, and the other thing that I have going on in the next couple weeks is more UV printing videos. So UV printers behind me, I'll show you some footage of that. I've got it under this cover right now. I keep it covered when I'm not using it just to make sure there's no dust or anything on it. But I've got a new UV printing video that I'm going to be releasing in about 2 weeks. So look for that. It's going to be really exciting. You know, UV printing complements lasers so much. Like, I've been so amazed by how just the technology works and all the different things that you can do with it. So I know it's a big investment, and you know, you don't have to start out this big, but you know, running a shop and running a professional business, you know, I feel like I need to have something that's able to keep up with production and something I'm going to be able to grow into. So that's why I decided to go with Artist Jet and this particular model, the Trust 6090, just because, I mean, I don't even understand half the capabilities that it has, because there's just so many and there's so much to learn with it. But even just knowing the basics of this type of machine, you could just do so much, and it's already really catapulted our business and allowed us to offer so many more things. So I'm really excited to let everyone in on the journey with us here with the UV printer. And I hope it inspires you to maybe think about adding that to your shop if you're in the same position, or if you're just looking to, you know, do some color in your work, because that's something my customers have always asked for, is we want color. And color filling is cool, and it works in a lot of different situations, but it's a lot of labor. As you can see, this is a lot. You know, at some point, I will be able to do these bottles on the UV printer with the UV printer rotary. So I'll be able to just print directly on the bottle, full color. It's going to save a lot of steps. So looking forward to that. That will definitely be a video coming up in the future. I just have to figure out how to do it. So lots coming up. All right, so that's going to do it, I think, for this video. Just wanted to bring you in on this Labor Day weekend to show you kind of what I'm working on and throw a couple tips in there. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and let me know what you're working on. A lot of exciting things happening in the shop during the month of September and October. You know, we're getting close to Christmas too, so man, it's going to start getting busy. Lots of videos coming out. I hope you join along. If you're new, thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss any of this. I guarantee it, all right? So thanks for watching, and I gotta get back to work, so I'll see you later.